It's really interesting. A lot of them are just not looking at him at all, even though he's standing and talking.
Right.
That's really interesting.
Uh-huh.
And nobody's amused, it seems.
Yeah, I mean, they just thought it was puzzling that they would be out considering all the things that have been said in this war between Blake and Justin. So,
Oh my God! Grab your seats because this tea is absolutely scalding. The perfect Hollywood fairy tale we've all been swooning over? It might just be the biggest illusion since magic mirrors. That's right. Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, everyone's favorite power couple, are in the midst of what could be the biggest scandal to rock Tinseltown this year. And trust me, the revelations are absolutely earth-shattering. Industry insiders are finally breaking their silence and the stories they're sharing. They're painting a picture so different from what we've been shown that it's making our heads spin, from questionable business dealings that would make even the shadiest Hollywood exec blush to some seriously manipulative moves behind the scenes. The receipts are stacking up faster than designer shoes at a sample sale. Let me break this down for you because the situation is more complex than a Christopher Nolan movie plot. Picture this. Hollywood's golden couple, always perfectly posed for the cameras. Their social media game absolutely flawless. Those adorable back-and-forth exchanges that made us all believe in love again. But beneath that carefully polished surface, a storm has been brewing, and honey, it's about to turn into a Category 5 hurricane. The drama kicked into high gear with the "it ends with us" situation. And let me tell you, this story has more layers than a wedding cake. When Blake Lively made those serious harassment allegations against Justin Baldoni, everyone was whispering behind their hands. But now people are starting to question everything they thought they knew about Blake and Ryan's perfect world. Here's where it gets absolutely wild. Justin Baldoni didn't just take these allegations lying down. No, he came out swinging with a lawsuit so massive it could fund its own blockbuster movie. We're talking $400 million, allegations of defamation, extortion, and get this, apparently attempting to hijack the entire movie project. The audacity. But wait, because this story is about to take more turns than a soap opera marathon. The real shocker? Other celebrities are starting to emerge from the woodwork, and what they're saying is making everyone question just how deep this rabbit hole goes. Industry insiders are suggesting that this isn't just a one-time thing. Apparently, our beloved power couple has been orchestrating these kinds of situations for years, masterfully manipulating circumstances to climb the Hollywood ladder and win public sympathy. I mean, can you believe it? All those perfect Instagram moments, those adorable red carpet appearances, those seemingly spontaneous funny moments. Was it all just an elaborate performance worthy of an Oscar?
I did a film with an absolute idiot of a co-star. And this human being was being so insecure and angry because this person couldn't get the scenes out. And I think I was so vulnerable and uncomfortable that I got screamed at. And I would cry walking off set. This person would literally look at me in front of the whole crew and say, "You call yourself an actor, this is what I have to work with. What is this?" And I stood there just breaking. This happens. But because this person was number one on a call sheet, there was no safety net for me. So no one had my back. And I remember the next day I walked on and I said, "You get off my set." It's the first time I've ever spoken.
Now let's dive into the Ryan Reynolds saga because this tea is so hot it could melt ice caps. The Jersey Shore situation? Absolutely revealing. When Sammy and Dina appeared on Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen, they tried to be diplomatic. You know how it goes in Hollywood, one wrong word, and suddenly you're blacklisted faster than you can say reality TV star. But the truth has a way of slipping out, doesn't it? Dina just couldn't hold it in anymore and spilled the beans about Ryan Reynolds, even though she tried to cushion the blow with that classic Hollywood save. But I still love Ryan and Blake. We see you trying to avoid those industry backlash consequences. We all know what that really means. And Sammy's attempt to write it off as just having a bad day? Please. We've all had bad days, but most of us don't leave such lasting impressions that reality TV stars remember us years later and still feel uncomfortable talking about it. The Rebecca Ferguson story adds another layer to this increasingly complex narrative, and oh my word, it's absolutely heartbreaking. While she didn't explicitly name names, smart move, keeping those Hollywood bridges intact, the details she shared about her traumatic on-set experience sent shockwaves through the industry. Imagine being treated so terribly that you'd rather act opposite a tennis ball than your co-star. The mental image alone is devastating. The fact that she was driven to tears during filming, that she had to stand up for herself and literally tell someone to F off, That speaks volumes about the toxic environment she was dealing with. And while she made it clear it wasn't Tom Cruise or Hugh Jackman, the whispers about Ryan's possible involvement just won't die down, especially given all the other stories emerging about his on-set behavior.
But I think after he got super, super famous from the first Deadpool, then things kind of changed. I think he was like, see, you guys see? And then I think I don't know. I mean, would I work with him again? No.
No.
I would not work with him
That
again.
much vitriol.
But I've said that about Michael Bay, and now we're friends, and I would work with him again. But I think Michael Bay is different. And Michael Bay worked on a movie with Ryan Reynolds also. And so he has a very specific opinion
That may mirror
of
your
Ryan
own.
Reynolds. And that was a good part of our last conversation with me and Bay. But I sort of wish him well because he's so good at Deadpool. And I think it's weird that he hates me.
But hold on to your hats because this rabbit hole goes even deeper. TJ Miller's revelations about working with Ryan on Deadpool are absolutely shocking and, quite frankly, devastating. When someone turns down double their paycheck just to avoid working with you again, that speaks volumes louder than any PR statement ever could. TJ didn't just hint at problems. He laid it all out there, making it crystal clear that Ryan's behavior wasn't some cute, funny act. It was deliberate, it was hurtful, and it left lasting scars that even Hollywood's best makeup artists couldn't cover up.
But you felt it coming from him.
Everybody did. That's why it was awkward. Everybody was like, why is Ryan doing this? And the other weird thing is like, maybe he got, I think he's kind of an insecure dude. He's really nice, but I mean, his Twitter bio is showing you the parts of me that tested the best in focus groups. And I'm not sure that he's joking.
So-
I think that might actually be his real sentiment there.
The drama with Tim Miller, the original Deadpool director, adds another fascinating chapter to this story. Can you believe Ryan's need for control was so intense that it drove away the very person who helped make Deadpool the sensation it became? Tim's words are haunting. If I can't win, I don't want to play. That's not just about creative differences. That's about power, control, and an ego so big it could fill an IMAX screen. Now, grab your popcorn and maybe a tissue or two, because we're about to dive into the Scarlett Johansson chapter of this saga. And trust me, it's more dramatic than any Marvel movie plot. Their romance seemed perfect on paper. Two beautiful, talented actors falling in love, making us all believe in Hollywood happiness. But behind those picture-perfect red carpet moments, a storm was brewing that would eventually tear their marriage apart. The timing is what makes this story so fascinating and, quite frankly, heartbreaking. Just as Scarlett's career was soaring to new heights with those huge Marvel roles, their marriage started crumbling faster than a cookie in hot coffee. Coincidence? Scarlett doesn't think so. Her words about jealousy and insecurity are like arrows pointing directly at what went wrong. When she talks about passive-aggressive jealousy and controlling behavior, you can practically feel the pain and frustration seeping through her carefully chosen words. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Enter Blake Lively, stage left. The Green Lantern set became more than just a movie location. It became the stage for what would ultimately end Ryan's marriage to Scarlett. The chemistry between Ryan and Blake was apparently so obvious that it couldn't be ignored, even by the lighting crew. While Ryan was struggling with his own insecurities and jealousy over Scarlett's success, he found comfort in Blake's presence. But was it healthy? The evidence suggesting otherwise is piling up faster than unwanted scripts on a producer's desk. The irony of it all, Ryan's insecurities seem to be the common denominator in every story. From his marriage to Scarlett to his professional relationships, that word keeps popping up more often than product placement in a summer blockbuster. And when multiple sources start singing the same tune, you have to wonder if they're onto something. Speaking of tunes no one wants to hear, let's talk about Ryan's Hollywood reputation because, darling, it's not pretty. When Quentin Tarantino, yes, the Quentin Tarantino, basically calls your entire filmography forgettable, that's got to sting more than a paper cut on a lemon. His brutal assessment of Ryan's Netflix movies as being worth $50 million, but ultimately unmemorable, that's the kind of shade that could cause an eclipse. And don't even get me started on Chris Columbus's reaction to Ryan's stoned alone idea. The Home Alone director was absolutely livid. And honestly, can you blame him? Trying to turn a beloved family classic into a stoner comedy? That's like trying to turn The Godfather into a romantic comedy. Some things are just sacred. The fact that Chris basically told Ryan to sit down and watch the original instead, that's the kind of Hollywood smackdown that gets whispered about in studio corridors for years. Gerard Butler's shade might be the most delicious of all. I don't watch Ryan Reynolds films. Simple, direct, and absolutely devastating. When multiple industry heavyweights start throwing shade like this, you have to wonder what's really going on behind those perfect press releases and carefully crafted public appearances. The situation with Morena Baccarin from Deadpool adds another layer to this increasingly complex story. Going from being a major character in the first movie to practically disappearing in the sequel, that's not just a plot twist, that's Hollywood politics at its finest. The way she was left standing alone at the premiere, practically invisible in the press events, that speaks volumes about the power dynamics at play.
Reynolds, how's it going?
Great. Why? What have you heard? Yeah, okay. Well, my question is that you know that the materials that they made the cone heads with, are those edible?
Edible? No, and based on them being made in 1975, I'd assume that they're highly toxic.
Oh, okay. So if somebody, hypothetically took a couple of nibbles backstage and, got excited, should they go to the hospital or should they?
Yes, they should go to the hospital right away.
Good.
And just when you think things couldn't get more awkward, there's that SNL 50th anniversary special appearance. Talk about reading the room wrong, making jokes about ongoing legal drama involving harassment claims. The timing couldn't have been worse, and the public's reaction proved it. Even Justin's lawyer called them out, and honestly, the whole thing just felt like a desperate attempt to control the narrative that's quickly spinning out of their carefully manicured hands. So here we are, watching the perfect facade of Hollywood's golden couple starting to crack like cheap foundation under hot lights. All those adorable Instagram posts, the witty Twitter exchanges, the perfect family photos, were they all just smoke and mirrors, carefully crafted by two master manipulators who understood exactly how to play the game? As more celebrities come forward and more stories emerge, it's becoming harder and harder to ignore the pattern that's forming. The question we're all asking now is, how much of what we've seen from Blake and Ryan has been real, and how much has been carefully crafted manipulation? Were we all fooled by Hollywood's most convincing act, or were there signs all along that we just chose to ignore? The truth is still unfolding, but one thing's for certain. This story is far from over, and the revelations keep getting more shocking by the day. The implications of all these revelations are sending shockwaves through Hollywood faster than a superhero movie leak. It's making everyone question not just Blake and Ryan's image, but how many other perfect Hollywood couples might be hiding similar secrets behind their Valencia-filtered Instagram posts and carefully worded press statements. But what do you think? Were you able to see through the perfect couple facade before everyone else did? Or are you as shocked as we are by these revelations? Have you noticed any other signs that might have hinted at trouble in paradise? Share your thoughts in the comments below, because this conversation is just getting started, and honestly, we have a feeling there's still more tea waiting to be spilled.